Okay. I'll send people the link. I think it's going to start on a different link, so I'm gonna send that in the other one that's scheduled for people to migrate to.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. That's a 20-second delay. So
let me see something. Let me see if I can put this on.
Okay. Okay, so I'll send it to them now. Okay.
Yo, can you still hear me?
Yes, I can.
All right, so my sound is good. All right, so I'll keep it on this, and I'll go ahead and mute up, and I'll just be waiting on you.
Okay. Send it to them. And okay, so. So I know people are going to filter in, so I can just start off with just giving some announcements. So welcome everybody to another edition of Supposed Manosphere. Not interview a former Red Pillar, but I'm actually interviewing a YouTuber known in the space very well, C Boogie Productions. Talk about his evolution as a YouTuber. As for this channel, I'm actually looking forward to this interview, and I'll definitely have a few more like interviews with a former Red Pillar, but I'm probably going to wrap that up soon, so I won't get to every single request, but I'll send emails to people who asked me earlier on that they wanted to be interviewed to kind of wrap those things up. And I'm trying to see how many people are here. So we got 10 people. Okay, 10 people watching. I know people are going to come in gradually. I put the link into the chat on the other live stream so people can actually migrate here. So I'm pretty sure more people will come in as we talk. So without further ado, Abby, can you introduce yourself really quick to people who don't know who you are?
Yeah, man, so my sound's A1, right?
Yes, I can hear you clearly.
All right, cool. C Boogie Productions. My YouTube handle is C Boogie Productions. Been on YouTube. Well, let me take that back. I've been making content for a little over 2.5 years now. And a lot of people know who I am. I've been around for a while. I've been on a lot of panels. I originally made my YouTube appearance when I was on Obsidian Show back in the day. And it was along with myself and some other guys. Matter of fact, during this interview, I'm not going to do a lot of name dropping.
Okay.
Only if it's relevant. But, back in the day, we used to be on Obsidian Show, and, it was a number of us over there. We had some fun, and then things got a little out of control at the end, and people went their separate ways. But it was starting off, I would come on maybe once a week, and then I would come on maybe twice a week. And then I remember specifically it was one summer, I gotta say Obsidian was scorching hot as far as anybody in the Manosphere. It was like one summer, his numbers was pretty good, and there was a lot of good topics. It was some pretty decent shows that he had, and that's when I started coming on maybe 4 or 5 times a week, and that may have lasted, I don't know, man, maybe a month and a half, and or maybe a little bit longer, and then I just started making my own content, man. I don't know if you want to get into that story, but that's just the background on me, man, on my origins online on social media.
Okay, now we'll get into that first. I always try to approach this as my oral history, so I kind of try to get like a little biography of the individual I'm interviewing. So yeah. So yeah, the other question I have, I know you're from Baltimore. You talk about your hometown a lot, so I'm curious, how was it like growing up in Baltimore during your heyday?
Yeah, growing up in Baltimore, man, I was born in 1987, so it was right after the crack era. Well, obviously it was still the crack era. And, it was pretty rough. I went to city schools all my life, public schools all my life. I would kind of vacillate from living working class to living, I guess, almost middle class at one point. And then it was times where money got tight. And then, we move to the hood, and then we'll go back to working class. So pretty much my whole life, I kind of vacillated through that right there. And, seen a lot of things, been through a lot of things, obviously growing up in these kind of environments, so overall, I've had some good experiences. I've had some bad experiences. I've had some traumatic experiences, but, Baltimore is, I usually say it's a black cloud over the city of Baltimore, like you like a historian. So like, a lot about a city like Baltimore. It's like a black cloud over the city, a lot of mental illness, a lot of people that's addicted to drugs, shit like that. So I remember being in class with a lot of guys that I can tell they was crack babies, by their behavior. A lot of guys that went to school with me, their circumstances were very unfortunate because, not having two parents in a household, stuff like that, not having a lot of money. Like I say, a lot of guys that I knew, family was on drugs really bad. So it affected their life in one way or another. So, we've seen a lot, man.
Mm.
Yeah, we've seen a lot.
Okay, I always ask. I know a lot of people in this space come from similar backgrounds, yet hold different world views and analysis of, especially when it comes to poverty. And I noticed that growing up, people grew up on the same on the same block. We have totally different views when it comes to why people are poor.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm more of a structuralist, and some of them are individualists, so they kind of blame poor people's behaviors. Where I kind of see it more as like being structural issues.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So I'm always curious about that. So, like, why people think differently when they come from similar backgrounds. But
No, I feel you, man.
Mhm.
And it's all good. I think that we should understand each other a lot better, but me personally, I've always been able to walk into any room and be comfortable. I got friends that are from the hood, and that's all they'll ever be. To be honest, every time I go home, I can find them in the same spots. And I have friends that work in corporate America. I have friends with letters behind their name. So for me, I'm pretty multifaceted like that. It's not a room that I feel I can't walk into and find some kind of common ground. So I think that's a characteristic about myself that I do like. I've never been restricted to one way of life. You know what I'm saying? And that's fine with me,
Okay, that's similar to my advisor. He's from South Side of Chicago, and he has a PhD in history, but similar to him, he can go in any kind of environment and feel right at home. That's what he tells us.
Yeah, no doubt.
Mm-hmm.
And, if you really think about it, though, for a lot of Black men in this country in particular, they call it code switching, but
Mm-hmm.
it is a real thing, because you never know what kind of Black people you're going to be around. You know what I'm saying? So
Mm-hmm.
if you can't relate to everybody in one way or another, I'm not even saying you got to hang out with certain people in your personal life, but you may have to work with them, or it could be another professional environment where you got to be around these people where you have to bond. It was like that when I went to the military, which I'm sure we'll get into, but you just never know who you're going to be roommates with. You may go to college, you may have a guy in your dorm room, that's Black, but y'all backgrounds are so different, and a lot of times in these situations, we like to size each other up instead of getting to know one another. It's like this Mexican standoff kind of thing because, a lot of guys from the hood, they come with this kind of arrogance and really it's fear. We know it's fear, but the behavior of the fear comes out as aggression and arrogance. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And, it's all kind of shit that comes behind that. But other than that, it's just all good with me, man. I've always been able to, find my pockets of people that I'm good with, man. So it never bothered me, man.
Okay, that's kind of cool. So yeah, I'm curious. Yeah, what motivated you to join the military?
Well, after high school, I really wanted to go to college, but our resources wasn't in abundance, you know. Basically, I didn't have the money. You know what I'm saying? And I was in a kind of a tight situation, you know, because I've always worked in high school. I've always had a job. I've always had side hustles. I've always had my own money. But after I graduated, you know, it's like this space where it's what's next, right? And you're either gonna go to work, you're gonna go to college, or the military. You know, I think those are three of the most prominent options for a young man. And for me, like I say, originally I did want to go to college, but once I seen that task of going to college with no resources was going to be just a little bit too hard for me at that time, or even virtually impossible because of my circumstances, I just called up a recruiter one day, and a lot of other kind of shit was going on around me. You know, I had a couple homeboys that got killed and shit, and it was just a lot of drama and stuff that was getting real close to me. And I was like, man, I had this feeling in my gut, dog, that I was going to be next. And something, it was just a voice talking to me, man. I guess they call it intuition, but it was talking to me. And something was telling me if I don't get out of the city as soon as possible, I'm talking about Baltimore City, then I'm going to be next. So anyway, back in the day, you know, we still had the yellow pages, and I got into the yellow pages and I found the Army recruiter. I don't know why I chose the Army in particular. I never thought about this until you just asked me. Because really, I could have picked the Navy or that. No. Okay. I think I know why now. I think I know why now. I chose the Army. For one, it was the closest thing to me because anybody in the military that I knew personally, they was in the Army. That's for one. Even though my sister was in the Navy for a short time, but that don't count. What else? But I knew that the Army can get me out of the city as fast as possible. Opposed to the Air Force, they have a long waiting list. The Navy, I never was feeling the Navy. I don't want to be on anybody's ship. You know, I'm gonna be honest, the Navy always seemed pretty soft. And the Marines, they don't compensate you the right way in the Marines. They don't offer signing bonuses and shit. They don't have the kind of college options that the Army had, you know, with the you know, certain kind of incentives where you can actually go to school while you're serving. Because I came out of the military with my associate's degree because, you know, I took classes while I was in. So the Marines wasn't offering none of that. They just wanted grunts. You know what I mean? I'm gonna be honest, they did. So I had that going on. And I used to always sit on my couch in high school and watch the Iraq War, you know, and I've always been like this radical type of dude anyway, just like, fuck it, right? Kind of like a free spirit, but in the hood, so it's a cap on it. But no, I'm serious, man. It's like an ill thing. Cause you know, around a lot of black people, man, you can't be alternative too much. You can't go against the grain. But I've always had a mind of my own. So anyway, you know, and growing up, I was always into these extracurricular activities and shit. That was just more masculine to me. So I used to always look at the war and be like, damn, man, that'd be cool if I go over there, man. And it never kind of clicked in my head because at the time I still had my mind set on college. But I was just thinking like, man, you know, that seemed like something I would like to do. And sure enough, man, I went off the basic training, and 8 months later, I was playing in that sandbox, man. It was crazy the way it happened, but you know, it's a lot of moving pieces. I'm trying to make it short for you, but and it was so long ago that some of this stuff is blurry. But the point is, you know, the biggest thing that I want you to know is I did want to go to college, though.
Mm-hmm. Okay. What did you originally want to do with the idea of college?
I don't remember, man. I don't remember, man. Maybe engineering, but at the time I was all over the place with my interests. You know what I mean? So I don't even know what I may have ended up with. I can say one, I definitely would have been into engineering. That would have been a major option for me. Um, but anything else, like I say, it's been so long, man, and so
Mhm.
much stuff happened. I don't remember.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, you know, sometimes in retrospect, I often think like, would I had joined the military, but I think I guess my introduction to it was so limited because I lived in South Carolina where I graduated from high school. And of course, it's near Fort Jackson. So I knew a lot of veterans, but a lot of them just were I don't know, I think they just were really skeptical about the federal government and they kind of went back into like the workforce. So like my hotel job, the dishwasher was a Persian Gulf War veteran. And it always used to just confuse me as to why he decided to do that and not like something else afterwards. But I learned later on, just people just kind of come out of the military with like different perspectives and interests.
Hmm. Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
okay.
I mean, think about it for a guy that's 17, 18 years old, um, whether you go to college for 4 years or you go to the military for 4 years, man, usually after that 4 years, you should be having a pretty decent idea on what you want to do with your life. I mean, at least, at least you should. So, a lot of people do that, man. They'll go in and do a 3, 4 year contract in the military, and that's just enough time to get your mind right. And,
Mhm.
at the same time, I mean, you're still working and you're still making money. You know, um, to me, it's all good.
Yeah, okay. Now, yeah, I'm curious. So how did military service change you as a person? I know one thing, especially coming from your background, and not to mention you get to see the world, introduced to new people. Yeah, how were you after you came out?
How did it change me? Changed me in a lot of ways, man. Taught me discipline, obviously, and I think at that time I really needed it. It gave me a lot of structure in my life. Um, I finally had some purpose in my life, a purpose that was bigger than me. Um, Gave me confidence, a lot of that, a whole lot of that. You have no choice but to face your fears. You know what I'm saying? It's not like it's optional. You know, you don't really have another option. So, um, I would say everything within that umbrella of just self-development, man. It's not too much that I can think of that it didn't affect me, man. It really, kind of formed my mind and took me places that I never thought that I would go. If I would have stayed in Baltimore, you never know what my mind frame would have been. But after I left and I got a chance to see the world, it really expanded my horizons on things. And, uh, really made me look at my own behavior, look at my own mindset and how I think about things, and got me into a lot of reflection and self-awareness about myself. And it's kind of funny because, a lot of times as young Black men, we join these organizations. And if you're not careful, and I want to make sure I say this the right way, because I know somebody gonna quote me. If you're not careful, you will come out of there thinking that Black people are less than and white people are greater than. And it almost happened to me. I think I kind of caught myself before I got too deep. Because obviously, you on military bases, you around white folk and shit. And then when you come home, the same things, the same environment that you've been in your whole life, you start to look at kind of side eye and shit. And I ain't gonna lie, man, it really happened subconsciously, you know what I'm saying? But for me, man, I had to quickly snap out of that shit. Like, oh, what the fuck is going on? You know what I mean? But you kind of don't have a choice but to conform. I mean, man, they broke me, man. Dog. When I first joined the Army, I was a knucklehead and I stayed in a lot of trouble. And I was a hard worker, but I didn't want to get with the program, and they broke me. I ain't gonna lie to you, man. My first day I showed up to work. I showed up and I reported to my unit. They smoked the shit out of me. And when I say smoke, it's like they make you do physical exercises until they get tired. It ain't about you getting tired. So that's when I say smoke. But I think I had some hair behind my ears or something. I didn't properly cut my hair. Whatever, it was something petty. But they was trying to prove a point because they understood that I was a young man coming from my environment. They like to break guys like us. And some guys, you know, they spaz out until they get kicked out the Army. And I didn't want that for myself. So they broke me, man. You know what I mean? They beat me up pretty good to the point where I got tired of it. And they didn't break me to the point where I submitted. They broke me to the point where I learned how to play the game. You know what I mean? Meaning, shit is a lot easier if you just do what they say until you get enough rank, until you get enough influence to where as though is they take you serious. But if you're showing up as a buck private, that's just not gonna work. You know, you can't be too opinionated. But what happened with me is I lost my rank 3 times. Lost my rank 3 times in a very short period of time. And every time I would get my rank back, I would go further. I would lose it again. Excuse me. And then one day I had this epiphany, like, fuck it. I'm just going to do it their way. Clearly my way is not working. So I did what I had to do, and then I got promoted, and then I made sergeant. You know, I made sergeant in a year, and I competed for soldier of the year. And I was doing all kind of high speed shit, meeting generals. And I realized I was in my own way. I'm like, damn, if I would have did this 2 years ago, I would be a staff sergeant by now. But since I didn't, I got to make up for lost time. And I became one of the more popular guys in my unit because of my work ethic and everything that I did to better my situation and shit. So, you know, I was pretty much shooting myself in the foot, man, being a young knucklehead. So they broke me, bro. They broke the shit out of me, man. Yeah, they did.
Yeah, okay, that's interesting. You made actually a lot of good points. I was thinking when we talk about the whole viewing white culture as superior. I know that happens a lot when people obtain upward mobility, especially if they come from like a working class or like impoverished background. They kind of look at their peers and their family as inferior, like subconsciously too. So
Yeah,
that,
I mean, I never looked at my family as inferior, but like I say, in some aspects, you know, it's just kind of like they ice is a little cooler. Shit.
Mhm.
Hey man, hold on for 1 second. I'm
Oh, it's
somewhere.
okay.
Give me 1 second.
On standby, just so standby.
Hey man, can you hear me?
Yeah, you can. I adjusted my screen actually so I can see the live chat at the same time.
Yeah, sorry about that, man. I
Oh,
didn't cut
that's
my
okay.
ring off. Hold on for a second. Let me fix this thing.
No, okay.
I need to get it back to speed. I don't know. Hold on. Give me 1 second, man.
Okay, no problem.
What the hell did I do wrong? Let's see. Audio. Hey, can you still hear me?
Yeah, clearly. Yep.
Let me see, because I can barely hear you, and that's the problem. Let me fix this. All right, say something to me.
Something. Yeah. You
Okay,
hear me
all
now? Okay.
right, we back.
Okay. So yeah, you made a really lot of good points. That's interesting to learn more about your background. I can kind of definitely see the links of being an independent thinker, being disciplined, especially in terms of the takes that you make on your YouTube channel. So yeah. Wait, what did you do after you came back from the military? I know this is when you was much younger. So what did you do afterwards? Oh, wait, you're on mute. Hold on.
Hey, can you hear me?
Okay. Yeah, I hear you now.
So after I got out the military, um, I decided to get out. I actually got out on medical because I got injured, and
Mhm.
I had an option to stay in, but I didn't want to stay in and not perform at the level that I was performing. I could have got a cozy desk job and kind of wrote it out, but I like to play soldier, that was fun. I like to put on the camo paint and run around like I'm crazy, jump off helicopters and shit. So because I couldn't do that at the level that I was doing it, I thought about it and I consulted with my circle and I just decided to get out. So after I got out, I finished and got my degree. And I went to school full time for like 2 years, like a year and a half.
Okay.
And I got a couple surgeries after I got out too. So it kind of set me back a couple times. And so while I was while I was going to school, first I just picked up just a part-time job. I was actually a machinist at a warehouse, and I did that for a while I was going to school at the same time. And then I left that job because I had to get another surgery. And total, I got 6 surgeries, but that's another story for another day. So after that, what did I do right after that? So after I was finished with the school piece, I picked up a job at the sheriff's department, but some things happened in between that, but we'll just skip that. But
Okay.
I started working for the sheriff's department. Boom, did that for a while. And I ended up getting fired because there was a situation that happened and it wasn't my fault, but I fell on the sword. And I'll leave it at that. So after that, I started working at the post office, so that was cool. And I was living in Pensacola, Florida at the time.
Hmm.
And after that, I was ready to move back closer to the East Coast. So I left Florida, stopped working at the post office. Oh yeah, I got another surgery in the meantime. Another surgery. Which that right there was the biggest one because I had to learn how to walk again. And what was funny, this was around the time where I found the Manosphere and I found this
Oh,
online.
okay.
This was because I was home with my leg in a cast. I had a cast up to my thigh and I had nothing but time on my hands, man. Straight up.
Mm-hmm.
So that was that. And the moment that I got the cast off and everything and I got back, I would say maybe 60%. I said, fuck it. Pardon my language. I said, F it. I'm moving back to the East Coast, man. I got a little tired of Florida. I'm not a beach dude or whatever. So I was tired of living like that. So I moved back to the East Coast and that was that. So, it's a lot of other things in that story, but that's just the main stuff right there.
Okay. No. So yeah, I know we're definitely gonna jump into the YouTube stuff. So you say that's when you found the Manosphere. So what interests you initially? Because I just found it entertaining at first. I'm like, it's an interesting community. I didn't have an opinion about it for several months.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can still hear you. Hmm?
Give me 1 second. It's
Okay.
something. I'm sorry. It's something on my end. Give me 1 second.
Okay. Oh yeah, to everybody in the chat, I can't pull up. I can see your comments, but I can't pull them up because we're on Zoom. This is my special request, so I won't continue to keep doing that. I'll probably stick with StreamYard since Zoom is a little tricky. But But no, don't worry. I can still see everybody. What you guys are saying. We'll be back soon. Oh, okay.
Yeah, sorry about that, man. That was actually my daughter, man.
Oh, no problem. Oh, you're on mute. No, you're on mute.
Like I say, man, I apologize, man. I was actually supposed to be home on my computer, but I realized I wasn't going to be home at 7. So, and I didn't want to cancel the interview. I was like, well, we'll just go. But for some reason, I'm telling you, man, every time I go live on my phone, people love to call me. And I think they do this on purpose. But how did I find this stuff? Okay. Have you ever heard of battle rap?
Oh, I used to be a battle rapper, believe it or not.
Oh, okay. All right, that's cool. So, okay. So what happened was this, man. I was looking for some battle raps on YouTube because that was the only time I would get on YouTube was to watch battle rap. Believe it or not, before I got on YouTube, I've never got on social media. I had like a MySpace back in the day to communicate with my family for my rap. But once I got home, I deleted it because I didn't need it. So I never was the social media guy. I'm still learning how to use it. But I was looking for some battle raps, some rap battles, and I don't know if I typed in the wrong words or whatever happened. I found somebody online and I seen the title, so I clicked on it and I was like, okay, some decent content. And like everybody else says, once you find one person, you find the ball. So I found a few other guys and I just started watching the content. And, I just started listening because I was at a weird place in my life because when I was living in Pensacola, I was involved in a lot of community work. And I maybe should have brought this up earlier. I was involved in a lot of community work. I was a community liaison for a nonprofit, right? Mm-hmm. At the same time, while I was working at the post office too, and I even worked as a community liaison full time at one point between my surgeries. So I was involved in a lot of community stuff. And this really changed my mind about a lot of things because I finally got a chance to see behind the scenes a lot of different things and how money is dispersed to people that really need it, who doesn't get money, how they screw over a lot of Black people with government contracts. I've seen a lot of this stuff. And I was at a very weird place in my life where I knew I had to do more. And when I found the Black Manosphere, it was a lot of guys talking about Black men, obviously. And that's what attracted me, and, we talked about a lot of different things, believe it or not, when I first found Obsidian, when I first found Obsidian, he was just reading statistics off a piece of paper like this. It seemed like just reading statistics and data, given, I guess, like a different narrative to what Black women were saying about Black men. And I didn't mind. I thought it was important. I'm like, shit, why not? I still think stuff like that is important. So that was the Obsidian I found. Obviously he's a different type of dude now, but so a lot of stuff I agree with, some stuff I didn't agree with at that time, but it still didn't matter. It still was Black men in one space congregating. And I felt like that's where I needed to be. So I don't want to go no further because I don't want to answer one of your questions, and I'll let you go. That's how I found this place, but we'll get into the juicy shit in a minute.
Okay, so, and I know you appeared on Obsidian. I think you appeared on some other channels too in the beginning, right? If I'm correct.
Not really. I did a few people panels as my channel grew, obviously, and people came to my panel, but it was mainly Obsidian show. I mean, you know, and I would pop up on other people's panels here and there and make a guest appearance, but you wasn't gonna catch me on a lot of people's panels and stuff like that. So either I was either doing Obsidian show or mine. And then it got to a point I was doing mine more than I was doing his. Excuse me. But that was it. You know what I mean? And every now and then I'll pop up on somebody's panel or somebody asks me, you know, I would come. But I wasn't really panel hopping like that.
Oh, okay. And I know it's over the past year, like you became a little bit more critical of some of the talking points in the space and probably sometime about the space overall. So I'm kind of curious what led to that shift.
Okay. And this is the part of the interview, and I want to make sure I get this right. And anybody that watched my content, y'all heard me speak on this a lot of times, obviously, but why I got critical, and I'm gonna give you the honest truth. It came from disappointment. That was my initial feeling about that space. It came from disappointment. And I'm gonna tell you why. Now, if you let all these guys tell it, all of these guys are the cream of the crop, right? All of them are highly educated. All of them make six figures. All of them run businesses. So I'm looking at it. I'm like, man, we got the men. We got the brain power. Obviously, we got the money. All of these guys make six figures, man. So I'm thinking, man, we should be doing more. And once it dawned on me that a lot of these guys was only here to discuss the women, I got disappointed, man. You know what I'm saying? I got disappointed. And over time, it led to a little bit of anger, you know. And the anger, I'll tell you where the anger came from. The anger came from being who I am and the things that I've been through in life and the things that I've overcame and the things that I've even did on the battlefield. I feel like 98% of these guys can't tie my sneakers, period. You know, I have 5 combat stripes on my jacket. I have valor. I've performed at the highest level for this nation, for my community, for myself. The first time I went to Iraq, I was 18 years old. I was the youngest guy over there. I stayed there for 15 months. And for some of these guys to have spoken to me the way that they have, it's best that all of this is virtual. I'll keep it like that. And that's where the anger came from, period. And do you have another question?
Obviously, if you wanted to go on, I was kind of interested.
Well, like, but I don't want to, because I know if I keep going, I'll probably answer another one of your questions. So I'm just trying to keep
it happens all the time, actually. So it doesn't really bother me. But I understand where you was going with that. So yes, I know when you began to preach self-improvement, you did get pushback, as you stated on your channel several times. But within the last year, I've seen a lot more people preach self-improvement or call themselves self-improvement coaches. I'm kind of curious what you think about that shift.
I'm not surprised, you know. Obviously, when I was talking self-improvement, I took a lot of arrows when I came over the hill, you know, but I would never discourage the talk of self-improvement because I think it's what saved my life ultimately, you know. But you got to understand the business of YouTube. People going to go with what's trendy, right? So what's popular now? Response videos, right? Everybody's doing, you know what I'm saying? That's the new thing. So some of the same guys that was like going hard, black men, we need to do this, black men, they need to come over here and get this game. They need to hear this stuff. They dropped it like a hot potato. Now they're doing response videos. Why? Because that's where the views are at. You see what I'm saying? This stuff isn't rocket science. And that's just the business of YouTube. So none of this shit surprises me. And the reason it don't surprise me, I've took a peek behind the curtain. I've met a lot of these guys. A lot of these guys have met me. Anybody that you see speaking critically of me are the guys that never met me. I've met more YouTubers than any of these guys. They cannot say nothing to me. I speak with authority. None of this is my opinion. Anytime I say something, it's facts. And that's just what it is. It is facts. It's not my opinion. You know, and I want people to hear me and hear me clearly. You know, I want people to hear me so clear. It's not my opinion. It's facts. This shit is fake. Let me get this. It's smoke and mirrors, bro. And I'll leave it right there. I ain't got to go no more. People know what I'm talking about. And the people that know what I'm talking about, they know. It's smoke and fucking mirrors, man. And I was highly disappointed at one time because I felt like none of this was life-changing shit. You know, it ain't like we trying to send somebody to the moon. You know what I mean? So what's all the line and capping for? You know what I'm saying? I was highly disappointed at a lot of things, you know, but it wasn't for me to be calling dudes out. I just made sure I separated myself from a lot of that. You know, I don't like that shit, man. You know, and I have my reasons why I don't like it. So it's smoke and mirrors, you know, and I would never hate on anybody's hustle. I never knock another man's hustle, but that's where it stops for me. You know, I came into this thing with my own mind, with my own thoughts, my own beliefs. You know, I've lived enough life where I know up from down, I know right from wrong, I know left from right. I don't need another man to sway my opinion one way or another. I'm gonna do shit even when it's not popular. When I stood next to Kevin Samuels, let me say this. When I stood next to Kevin, it wasn't popular to stand next to Kevin. You gotta understand, I took a lot of heat for that shit. From people emailing me behind the scenes in my comment section. And because what was the biggest thing with Kevin, right? Everybody think that, yeah. So, and I hung out with the guy when it wasn't popular. You know what I mean? When my channel was doing better than Kevin's. But this is how much of my own mind I have, man. I don't care about stuff like that, man. Until a man runs afoul by me, I ain't got to listen to nobody. You see what I'm saying? So with that being said, you know, a lot of these guys need to grow up and think for themselves, man. You know, they have to. A lot of these guys need to mind their own, stop listening to everybody. If you believe in something as a man, you're going to stand on it even when it's not a popular thing to do. You know what I'm saying? And I see a lot of dick riding and dick eating and just riding people bandwagons because they may be popular at the time. You know, so it lets me know that everything people been saying about, well, black men, we got to do this, black men this in the community, it was all bullshit. It was all bullshit, man. You know what I mean? And that's fine. You know, like I say, I'm not here to knock another man's hustle, but my original disappointment came from that. It came from guys talking and not wanting to show any kind of action. You know, if you're going to sit around all day and discuss, you know, I guess obviously women and the conditions of the community and certain things, okay, we can take the women off the table. You know, my question is, what we going to do for Black men? And before I threw my first self-improvement summit, I reached out to a couple of YouTubers and they gave me the runaround, which was crazy to me. You know what I'm saying? I had some ideas and guys didn't really want to tell me no, because I guess it would look crazy because they talk all of this shit online. But basically they was just like, nah, man, I just want to get online, get some super chat money and talk about these women. That's basically the vibe that I got. Seriously. You know, so for me, that did bring a level of disappointment for me, man. You know, yeah, it did.
I can definitely see that. I know one question you kind of covered about. I was kind of curious. I know you met a lot of people in real life. I was wondering like how many of them like were, you know, still the same as they are online, or you just, you know, totally different, or even somewhat in the middle.
Well, for me, it wasn't about being the same that they was online, because me as a content creator as well, I understand that we have to entertain. You know what I mean? If you're doing live streams 4 or 5 times a week or even more, in order to put out information and keep people attention for an hour or 2 hours or more, I mean, you have to have something entertaining about, you know, about your show. So I never expected these guys to be going up to women and calling them everything they say online. I already knew that wasn't the case. So for me, you know, I didn't have any expectation. I can say that a lot of guys wasn't completely honest about their condition, you know, and I'll leave it at that. But I think overall, I never went into it with any expectation, man. You know, I mean, you are who you are. I just respect the man for who he is. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, I'll just leave it at that. I don't think none of these interactions were meant to be, you know, more than what they were. You know what I mean? So, but some strange things have happened that I won't get into. You know, some things I'll take to the grave, but I've seen enough to speak on things. I've seen enough to make the comment that this is smoke and mirrors. And people can slice that any way they want to.
Mm-hmm.
Smoke and mirrors, man. And if people think that it's any more than, if it's any more than that, then you are a fool. You know what I'm saying? You are a fool, man. So that's as best as I can put it. It's smoke and mirrors, man.
Mm-hmm. That's fair enough. See, some people saying details, but I didn't want to make this live stream about other people. I kind of wanted to make this a little bit more intimate about, you know, yourself as a YouTuber. So, but I totally understand where you're coming from. So, yeah, according to my knowledge, like, at least to my knowledge, I'm not sure it's 100% accurate, but I know you're like one of the first YouTubers in this sector of YouTube to actually organize a conference. So I'm kind of curious what motivated you to create a self-improvement summit, and how has it evolved over the years?
Actually, you know, Kevin Samuels threw an event in Atlanta that I went to.
Oh, okay.
I was there. I'm trying to think. It didn't really get a lot of notoriety for whatever reason, if I remember correctly at the time. But I was there. But before that, man, shit, man, it's a lot more to that story. But I would say this. I had been thinking about doing something a long time ago, even before Kevin threw his. And again, I reached out to some prominent YouTubers in the Black sector, and yeah, I got the runaround on it. And so I kind of put it to the side. I'm like, all right, I'll revisit this later. So I just kept doing what I was doing. And once I felt like it was the right time, you know, last year, I just pulled the trigger on it. And I just wanted to get some of my subscribers together, guys that supported me, and I just wanted to get us together and see what we come up with. I didn't think it was going to be anything more than that. So I would have been perfectly happy for the first summit if 7, 8 guys would have showed up, and maybe we could have just talked and got some things off our chest and hung out a little bit. I didn't think it was going to be more than that, man. I'm being honest with you. But a lot more people showed up than that, for one. And a lot of guys came and got a breakthrough because of the things that we was able to talk about. So it gave me a lot of ideas for the second one, you know? And I was like, okay, we really going to do this time. You know what I mean? Like, we really going to develop a curriculum. We're really going to create an environment where guys can feel free to get information, talk about anything, or hell, even if they just want to come to DC and hang out, then that's fine too. So that's what we did for the second and third one. But it just started just as an idea for something for my subscribers. And then I reached out to Ron Wills, and I reached out to Cousin T-Tall, and shout out to them. And I reached out to Frank, we from the Man Cave. And excuse me, I like the energy from these guys. Their energy was top notch. I think we was all on the same page about the vision for it. You know, we all was just at the right place at the right time with the same energy. And it turned into what it turned into, to the point where, you know, the last self-improvement summit, man, we had fathers and sons together, you know?
Okay. Yeah. Oh, you bet. Oh, okay.
For a second, man.
Yeah, okay. Little technical difficulties, but not bad. Let's see what everybody's saying. I'm kind of glad there's more interactions in the live chat. Just please like and share the stream if you can. And center of the board, thank you for the super chat. Shout out to C Boogie Production and Real Soldier of the Sector.
Hey, what's going on, Tony Maceo? Yeah, sorry about that. See, I can't turn my ring off, and every time somebody calls,
Okay.
but we good. So back to so yeah. So the first person I hit up was Ron when I decided to pull the trigger. And that was the best decision I made. I hit up Ron, and I didn't even have to do a lot of talking. Like I said, the guys that I hit up before, they gave me the biggest run around in the world. But when I hit up Ron, I pitched it to him, but all he needed to hear was what he needed to hear. He was like, yeah, I'm down. Next thing you know, Cousin Tita was driving down. And then the next summit, you know, Frank was already living in DC. I was like, come through. So, you know, he's been down ever since. So just good brothers, you know. And the biggest thing for me was, look, man, I could have reached out to bigger YouTubers, which I did at first, but I don't want to make this a sideshow, for one. I don't want to make a mockery of this. I don't want this thing to turn into the players' ball. None of that type of shit. You know what I'm saying? I want this thing to be what it's supposed to be, the self-improvement summit, man. You know, I don't want this thing to turn into a hustle. I don't want this thing to hold on for 1 second, bro.
Yeah, okay. So who's in the chat? Wait, I'll stand by, everybody. And like I said, please like the video, share it, because when you like it, it actually the YouTube algorithm promotes it more. So please like it. If you're watching, okay, let's see. And you guys are talking a lot about Kevin Samuels in the live chat. Okay. And we're back. Okay.
I didn't want the summit to turn into a sideshow. And the biggest thing that I knew going into it, I seen the people before me in Black YouTube scamming. I mean, we know about the Dr. Umars. I mean, like, we just know these things, right? You know, we ain't even got to say no names. So I wanted to establish a good reputation for doing good business. I've never had one situation over any money dealing with the summit. And I'm proud of these things too. Even with the summit, dog, do you understand that in the white manosphere, they charge $2,200? And I don't charge nowhere near that amount. But I would say the information is just as good or as better. My setup is getting to a place where is very professional. And even when we all hang out after the summit, it's just the best time. So that right there is culture. That right there is when your spirit is in the right place, when you're not hustling people. I haven't made one dime off this self-improvement summit. And let me get this clear, because my detractors, I've had some bitch ass niggas, excuse my language, but this is what they are. I've had some bitch ass niggas try to say certain things about the summit. I've put more money into this thing than I ever got out. You know, and look, I do hope to turn a profit one day, very soon, because I don't have a lot of money to keep pumping into it. But my thing is this: I'm doing it because God told me to do it, point blank, period. So at the end of the day, I know the money will come at some point. You know what I'm saying? But for me to sit into a room and see Black fathers and Black sons hug each other and tell each other that they love each other and rekindle a love and a flame, I can't put a price on that. I can't put a price on that. When I see Black men drive from Detroit with his wife and kids and bring them down to DC and show them around because they never went. When I see a Black man fly in from California with his wife and kids just so they can meet me, you can't put a price on that, dog. So for me, it's all good, you know, and that's what I'm most proud of, man. You know, that right there. And it started out as something that I thought we was just going to hang out, but the kind of people that have reached out to me, and I can't say a lot about this because I may use these people at some point, but I don't have any letters behind my name, right? Not one. I just got a bachelor's degree. But here's the point. I've had doctors come from out of state, pay for a seat at the summit, sit in the back and see what we are doing. These are real things, people. I ain't got to make this up. You know what I mean? People with legitimate letters behind their name. And it lets me know a lot of things, but most of all, you can't pay for influence. I'm just C Boogie from Baltimore. Why is a doctor coming out to check on what I'm doing? I should be checking on what she's doing. You see what I'm saying? Why are professionals hitting me up wanting to collab with me? And it put a lot of things in perspective, Aaron, because it doesn't take much to make a difference. You know, it doesn't take a lot to get boots on the ground and to start to see some change at a small level. Just imagine if we had the majority of Black men on the same page, what we really can do out here. It's almost unbelievable. So the Self-Improvement Summit is doing what it's supposed to do. Self-improvement, bottom line. It's growing. Every summit, we get more people. You know, shout out to everybody that supported. And I got to say this, I would be remiss if I didn't say it. The biggest supporters of the summit are Black women, which is odd. And Not that I ever asked anybody for anything. This summit was the first time I did any kind of crowdfunding because I got some young brothers I'm trying to get from out of state, from a group home to DC, and I need money to put them in a hotel and tickets, and this stuff is expensive, man. Look, I'm not rich. I'm not a six-figure. No, I gotta keep it above. I know everybody on Black YouTube makes six figures. I understand. I know all of these guys run businesses. They got trunking companies. They got roofing companies. They big tech guys. I'm just C Boogie from Baltimore. And at the end of the day, funding for an idea is just as important as the idea itself. And I didn't say that. Khaled Muhammad said that. You know, so I came to my subscribers this time because I really want to pull this off. And if it don't happen, again, I'll put my own money into it. So I find it funny. I say I like to say this, dog. I find it funny that we spend our days talking about how messed up these women are, how trifling and cruddy these women are, how these women aren't worth marrying and all of this. But when push came to shove, when shit hit the fan, don't get me wrong, shout out to the brothers that supported. But from day one, dog, from day one, there has been Black women reaching out to me, just wanting to help me. And to put this in perspective, I mean, first I gotta say thank you. I have to say thank you to all the women. And it wasn't like they was just supporting me as in just Boogie personally. No. I think they really see what we're trying to build. I think they see the vision. All I needed was for some Black guys to stay the hell out my way online. I didn't go to these guys and ask them for anything. I didn't go to these guys' channel and ask them to help promote my event. No. But instead, a lot of these guys talked about my event as if I was hustling people. And I didn't appreciate that. I didn't appreciate that at all. So when shit get real, and when it's time to get off these panels and all of this, off this Zoom and shit, when it's time to hit the streets, it was the women that put their money where their mouth is and everything else. And it was the men that stood back and gossiped and talked and ran their mouth like bitches. That's unbelievable, man. And I look at the position that Black men are in this society, and I see the correlation. I've been asked to join certain things in the white manosphere. And I didn't know the white manosphere had all this drama into recently. Seriously, I didn't know, right? But the point is this. I turned it down because I'm 33 years old and I'm an able-bodied, meaning when I looked across the pond and I seen the white guys with the 21 convention, I asked myself, as Black men, we can have something just as good or better. I didn't want to be known as one of the only Black guys that spoke at the 21 convention. This is the 1960s where I'm in the Negro leagues. I don't give a fuck about it. I want to create something that my children will be able to take over if I decide to stick with it. I want to have something that I can be proud of. I don't want my time online to have spent in vain. And most of all, again, when I see these young brothers come out and get a breakthrough or make a friend, it's everybody that comes to the Self-Improvement Summit, from doctors to guys that work at the post office, to guys that work at the warehouse, to guys in corporate America, to street dudes, all in one room, right? All in one room. Guys are making friends, passing out numbers, business cards. Guys are starting businesses. These are the unintended consequences of getting guys in the same room. Now, I didn't plan for that, but I still like it, right? And I've made me some personal connections myself, obviously. So, you know, I like where this thing is headed. I'm proud of it. I didn't want to leave this online thing and not have gotten anything out of it. I'm just not one of those guys. Remember when I told you at the beginning of this live stream, I used to sit on my couch and look at the guys in the Iraq war. I'm like, damn, man, I should go over that. And I ended up over there. I've always had this crazy kind of thing with me where I just do it. And I pray about it. And I let the chips fall where they fall, you know? So, and I know I'm kind of all over the place, but I didn't write any notes for this, you know? So I think that Black men as a group, not everybody in particular, but as a group, I don't know what motivates us at this point besides sex. I don't know what moves us to do anything. I don't know why we so inactive. I don't know why I don't know. I can't answer that question. You know, it's very disheartening for me, especially coming from my environment, because I never got upset growing up in the inner city of Baltimore that I had to fight all the time, you know? Is it irritating? Is it tedious? Yeah, it is. But it just made me stronger. It gave me the tools that I needed from when I was on that 15-month deployment. The places where I had to dig in deep, well, that's where that came from. Those fist fights in the middle of the street in Baltimore when I couldn't run. I tried to run from a fight one time. The guy chased me home.
Oh.
Like, these are real things. I tried to run. I did. It was this guy in my neighborhood that I already fought him like 3 times. I got tired of fighting this guy. And I just ain't feel like fighting, man, that day. And I decided to run home. I thought he was going to leave me alone. And this nigga chased me to my porch. Mm. And I was forced to stand there as a man and fight this guy until we both got tired. And after that, I never ran again. But I had to dig into that bag when I was on that 15-month deployment. When guys around me was crying, when guys were committing suicide, man. I used to walk by porta potties in Iraq and hear guns going off, but I'm not thinking nothing of it. It's always gunfire. But I'll wake up in the morning and find out that Private such and such blew his own head off. I seen grown men cry on the battlefield. And the guy that they least suspected, which was me, the youngest guy over there, was on that 50 cal showing all my teeth. And when I left Iraq, I cried. For the first time in my life, I had a purpose. I cried like a baby. I didn't want to go home. I didn't want to go home. And I'm going to tell you why. Because, for one, I've been over there so long. But two, when I'm in the Middle East, I don't have to be Boogie, right? I can be me. And they'll accept me as me. I don't have to wear bravado. I don't have to be tough. I don't have to drive around with a gun. I don't have to do these things. Well, you know what I mean? Not the war, but this, I'm not talking about that, but I don't have to be so guarded. I could be vulnerable over that. And I knew what I was coming home to, and it fucked me up. And when I got home, that's exactly what happened. I had to put my armor back, you know? And that still affects me to this day, because when I'm in the Middle East, I'm completely vulnerable. I'm naked. And I know nothing's going to happen to me. And I know that I can expose myself and I won't get hurt. I know that I just know a lot of things, because what you hear online is nothing but fear. When these guys are talking about, I hear the fear. When guys talk about the MGTOW or whatever, they don't want to deal with no more women. You know, they never want to get married. It's, you know, I get it. It's nothing but fear. You know, and look, I understand, man. I've met some pretty unsavory women in my life, but I met some good ones too. And if I put everything on a scale, dog, I've had a lot more positive experiences with women than negative. And quiet as kept, a lot of good women that I met and I had in my life, I messed it up by being young and dumb. Foolish is what they call it. So I'm not going to get online and act like everything is these women's fault when I know that's a damn lie. You know, I've had great women in my life on quite a few occasions. I screwed that up, you know, point blank period. My daily interactions with women, 95% positive, because I carry myself in a certain way. You know, a lot of these guys, and I told you something earlier, a lot of these guys aren't honest about their condition. It come down to this, man. A lot of these guys aren't honest about their social and personality deficiencies. They're not telling the truth about these things. And I've seen the deficiencies with my own eyes. I've seen it. And with that being said, it makes sense why you have a bunch of 40 and 50-year-old men that would rather live a life by themselves. And I think a lot of these guys know this. I think a lot of these guys, they don't want to deal with the reality because they can force themselves to be in the echo chamber online on these panels, but that's not what I see. I see the deficiencies. First, I heard them, then I seen them. And you know, I feel bad for a lot of these guys. Not bad where I'm losing sleep. That's an impossible situation. But I feel bad in the sense that I know for a lot of these guys, they would want nothing more is to meet an exceptional woman and that woman actually like him for him. But I don't think a lot of these guys have the psychological and emotional capacity to deal with somebody every day in a long-term relationship. I don't see it. And we reached a point with this stuff online where we forgot that in the real world, people like each other, right? Like genuinely like each other. They're attracted to each other. They got chemistry. They get along, even if it's only temporary. And we've entered this space online where everything is a conspiracy theory. She's only with you for the money and this, that, and this. I don't live in that world. I don't live in that world. The world that I live in with myself and the guys close to me, the majority of interactions we have with women are sincere. It doesn't have to be long-term. Everybody not meant to be in your life forever. Some things are seasonal. So a lot of that shit I just can't relate to. You know, I'm not paranoid about a woman using me for a dinner date. It's never happened to me. I wouldn't even be on a date with her. I wouldn't even be in that situation if I knew the girl didn't like me like that. I wouldn't. Let me ask you a question. Fuck it. Let me ask you a question. How many women that were genuinely interested in Aaron Fountain that just woke up in the morning and gave you a hard time?
Oh. No, I can't think of it. Can't think of any incident.
Bingo, right? And usually that's the case. And when I started to see some of these deficiencies from these guys, and when I paired it with the victim mentality that they have, the lack of assertiveness and initiative, just overall lack of masculinity, I understand why some of these guys are in a position that they're in. You know, I get it. This is why online they play characters. You know, these guys can be anybody, Captain America. They can pick Fantastic Four. It doesn't matter. They can be anybody they want to be, you know. And that's fine. You did. That's cool. If I would have known we was playing characters, I would have picked a better name. I just picked my nickname. It's Boogie. I just put the production on it to sound professional. But people call me Boogie. That's really my name. It's my nickname. But everybody knows my name is Rashad. But Boogie's always been my nickname. So if I would have known, I would have picked me. I don't know, man. Maybe I could be captain. I don't know. I should have been. So with that being said, I almost feel bad for a lot of these guys. You know, I've since let go of the anger because now I have a level of understanding. They don't really get under my skin no more. Feel bad for them. And I hope a lot of them find their peace. What's your next question, man? Because I'm rambling. But I didn't want to skip on. No, because I didn't want to skip anything from that part. I wanted to be clear.
No, it's understandable. So I had 3 more questions. I did ask people in the chat if they had questions, and I think there's a lot of questions, but I can't get to them all. So I'll ask one question that I did prepare, and then I'll go into what the audience have asked. So yeah, I know one thing in your channel, you do seek a balance when you critique men and women, and I'm kind of curious, how do you find moderation when a lot of the quote unquote gender war in Black YouTube is like so toxic, and especially one-sided, whether it's coming from the men or the women?
Well, for one, it's like I told you already, bro. I took a peek behind the veil. It's smoke and mirrors. I understand why the content creators have to keep the gender war alive. What else they going to talk about? Seriously, like what else? We've forgotten that Kevin Samuels is a image consultant. You know what I mean? If Kevin Samuels would have got the views and the money that he's getting now for teaching Black male image that he just swore was so important, he would be doing that, right? So I say all that to say this, not to pick on Kevin. I don't have a personal issue with the nigga, but I just wanted to use somebody that we all may know. They have to keep this alive. That's where the money is, period. It's just that simple. You know what I mean? We don't have to go any further than that. But when I get out here in real life, you know, I do a lot of live streaming from my car and shit. I'm never home, bro. From early in the morning to at night, I got shit going on. And I just stream whenever I can. So I'll just go live. If I'm taking a drive from Fayetteville to Durham, that's an hour and a half. I'll just do a live stream and my drive is over. So, but the point is, I see a balance in real life. If I go to the hood, I know what I'm gonna find, which I do find myself in the hood. I know what I'm gonna find. I'm gonna find a bunch of single mothers. I'm gonna find niggas outside of the corner store smoking a Black and Mild. I'm gonna find crime. I'm gonna find fuckery. I'm gonna find dirt, trash, abandoned houses, and cars. If I go to the middle class, I'm gonna find women running, right? I'm gonna find families in the park, right? I'm gonna find middle class values. I'm not gonna see women fighting in the streets like Hagel and Hearns. But if I go to the hood, I'll find that. If I go to a college campus, I'll find a woman that's particularly, smart. She may not have a child. She's in college. So whatever I'm looking for, dog, I can find it. All I got to do is type in the address for the grid quarters. If I want to sleep with hood rats, I know where to go. If I want to educate a woman, I know where to go. It's that simple. So these guys, mostly what they talking about in that content, they talking about the lowest hanging fruit. You know what I mean? They are. They talking about the lowest hanging fruit. Point blank, period. Even when we do the summits in DC, the places that we hang out at afterwards, these are good places, man. It ain't a bunch of fuckery. Like I told these guys, come to DC and hang out with me. Surely it's a lot different than sitting on a 12-hour panel. Come to DC and you'll see what I'm talking about. I can take you around some good women. Now, what you do from that, that's on you. But I can put you in the room. I can lead you to the water. I mean, this has been verified. Now, what you gonna do with it? So it's like when Black women usually talk about Black men online. They usually talk about the lowest hanging fruit. You know what I'm saying? They're not talking about the Aaron Fountains. Obviously, they're not. So I understand the gender war is profitable, is all I'm saying. And a lot of these guys are playing off the ignorance and the hurt and the pain of the subscribers, which is disrespectful when you think about it. They're not providing solutions for these men. They're keeping them in a place of purgatory. They're keeping them in a place of anger, Some of these guys are going to be online until they're 50 and 60 years old. Well, some of these guys are 50, excuse me. Some of these guys are going to be online until they're 60 and 70. They don't have an end goal to what they're doing. They haven't thought that far yet. You know what I mean? And that sense is sad, because I'm 33 years old, man. I'm on the second chapter of my life. And I don't even see a ceiling on the plans that I have. I don't see a ceiling on what I can accomplish. Sky's the limit for me. But for a lot of these guys, they understand that they don't really have a lot of options. Some of these guys are well into their 50s. They just speaking freely about getting a wife and kids at that age as if it's that easy. You know what I mean? And it's really, it's pathetic for one, but it's really sad, It's just really sad. It's like, dog, you actually think that the 25-year-old girl, 24-year-old girl that just graduated from Spelman University, you really think her dream is to marry a 55-year-old man that's diabetic and need Viagra? and what she has to look up to is going to your doctor's appointments and shit like that. I mean, these guys actually think these things. And I'm not saying that an older man can't get with a younger woman, because surely I see it. But just doing the eye test, like I'm actually outside right now. How many 60-year-old men do you see with 21-year-old girls in this country?
I can only think of once off the top of my head. At my hotel, me and my coworkers laughed. And it was just hilarious. A wedding reception.
And that's the crazy part, one, right? And look, I'm not talking about Bali or Cambodia or Philippines. I'm talking about the United States. I'm not talking about a third world country. So usually when younger women get with older men, there's a major money factor in that. Let's just keep it above. You know, so with that being said, when these guys like to give examples, they'll give you a celebrity, right? Like, look at Brad Pitt. And it's just like, no, if you have to give me a celebrity and you can't use yourself as an example, you're already wrong in my book. You know, they'll say something like, men don't hit the wall. Look at Will Smith. It's like, nigga, look at you. You clearly smacked into the wall, but you trying to sell me on Will Smith. So, you know, that right there is fuckery. And if as long as guys continue to let that fly and not challenge it, it's going to keep happening, you know. So I said all that to say, because that's just one of my little things that I see that really lets me know these guys are delusional as hell. You know, a lot of these guys don't have a what's next. They don't. They just hanging on, man. And they just out here, man. They don't have a sense of direction of really what they want. They get excited for stuff like Derek Jackson being exposed, whatever. Stuff that in the grand scheme of things, you know, it's not really helping a man's personal life. You know what I mean? It's just something to talk about. It's gossip, you know, and there's a time and place for that. But again, I feel bad for a lot of these guys, man. Some of these guys, if I were them, I would be taking some of that energy and trying to change my situation. But if you let all of them tell it, none of them have problems with women. They just talking about what they observed from other guys. So I don't even know at this point, man. It's fuckery. But my bad, dog. Like, you can go with the next question, man.
I'll jump into the some audience questions before I just have you conclude. So somebody super chatted something earlier. Like it was so long ago, but he said something like, "Do you think Black women support their boys going into the military?"
I mean, it depends. You know, I've heard some women that were very terrified. Well, you got to understand, I came into the Army at wartime. We was in the height of 2 wars. So I can understand why a mother wouldn't want her son to go in at that time. That's reasonable. That's sensible, right? But at the end of the day, it just depends, because I know some Black mothers that damn near kick their boys out the house to go to the military. So, you know, it's a crapshoot with that. I think a lot of Black people in general are anti-military, not just women. You know, some of the biggest arguments I've gotten into about the military has been with other Black men. And it's kind of funny, because these Black men were never like productive members of society. They always like some, you know, off-brand type of dudes that they don't believe in the system, but yet these guys are on like public assistance and shit. And it's crazy, right? But that whole mentality is just ill to me. So, you know, I've met Black people in general, throughout, men and women, that have a problem with government and military, and rightfully so if you know the history. But the only question I would have is, did you have another option for me? Did you have another option for me? If not, shut the hell up, period. You know what I'm saying? Black unemployment is low because Black entrepreneurship is low. That's why. So for me, it wasn't like I graduated high school and I had a job waiting on me. I looked at the options that was in front of me and I went with the one that was suitable for me. But what I'm doing is I'm changing that for my kids. So when they graduate, they'll have something to walk into, or they can choose to do whatever they want to do. But a lot of us don't have that option. So if you're not going to present me with another option, I would say shut the hell up. So to answer it directly, it's a crapshoot. It's hit or miss. I've seen some mothers that is anti-military. I've seen some mothers that damn near kick their sons out the house to go.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so if somebody else had a question, he said, "What are your opinions about SYSBM?"
I don't
They
have
already
a
know my opinions about that.
okay, you know, and I've spoken on this before in my content. This is nothing new.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty sure whoever asked the question already know what I'm about to say. Here's my problem with SYSBM, and it's not even a problem. I don't have a problem with guys traveling, even traveling for sex. My issue the whole time was guys just wasn't honest about it, you know? Just say you traveling for pussy. I mean, I'm fine with, I don't care either way. It doesn't do nothing for me personally, but don't piss on me and tell me it's rain. Don't sit here and give me a whole lecture on black men traveling to expand our horizons. We need to do this and do that. And everybody's going to third world countries, to the same places that are known for sex tourism. Wow, it's no coincidence, man. So, you know, but if you let them tell it, they doing business over there, and, you know, man, shut the hell up. No, you're not. So for me, it's that's my only issue with it, man. Just be honest to me about it, man. Don't piss on me and tell me it's rain, because to me, that's disrespectful to me, man. I don't like it, man. It's disrespectful, dog. Just keep it a buck. You going for pussy. That's fine. When I was living in El Paso, Texas, we used to cross the border and go to Mexico for 10 tequila a night, and we would get a lot of pussy. I mean, I was 18 and 19. I wasn't 50 and 60, but at the end of the day, I understand why guys do it, man. I've been there, done that, right? You know what I mean? A long time ago, I got the t-shirt to tell it. I've had my soirees in Germany, and I can go down the list. So, but you got to understand that at this time, I was 20 years old. To me, that's the biggest difference. I was 20, not 50. So, I mean, at some point, to me, you got to be something else more to this. That's for one. And there's a morality argument that's being made by a lot of these guys when it comes to these women, which on its face, I do agree with. But how the hell are you going to preach to these women about morality and keeping their legs closed when you talking about traveling around the globe to have sex with different ethnicities of women? I mean, that's crazy. You being a hypocrite, man. But you're trying to disguise it under being a man, gender, you know? And I don't agree with that. Me personally, I don't. I don't believe in do as I say, not as I do. That's not my leadership style. I've never liked any leader that stood in front of me with that style. I know it's acceptable for some guys, and that's fine. You know, we don't have to think the same, but for me, miss me with that morality shit. If you traveling all over the world to have all kind of strange sex for money, then how the hell are you going to give her a lecture on morality here in the United States and say the community is fucked up because of who she sleeps with? You know what I'm saying? As if you on some higher vibration and shit. You know, and it's a lot of hypocrisy with that shit. And that's the part that I'm not digging. I mean, just keep it a buck, man. Nobody really cares. Nobody gives a damn for real. You know what I mean? Nobody cares.
Yeah, okay. So there's another question too. Somebody said, like, so in 20 years, they say you'll turn 50, and do you feel like you wasted your 20s? That's what they asked in the chat.
I'm 33, and I feel like I wasted a lot of time in my 20s. I mean, I spoke on these things on my channel, you know. But my thing is this. I think that men and women, when you're young, you should do like Smokey Robinson say and shop around. You should get out into the world and see what the world has to offer. Get experiences, meet people, date people, sleep with people. This is what you can't be just having babies and shit. I get that, but I think that men and women should go through that phase where they figure out what they like, what they don't like, what makes them tick, da 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 da. And then at some point, you should snap out of it and get kind of serious, right? That's my personal opinion. So I look at my early, particularly in my early 20s, and I spent a lot of time fucking off. I spent a lot of time bullshit, you know, and the only thing that I can do is just change it. You know what I'm saying? But in no way, shape, or form do I want to be the old nigga in the club. I mean, I'm in my prime right now, so, it's nothing that I really think about. But if I was 60 years old and I spent most of my time online all day talking about pussy, and I've never built a lemonade stand, I would feel like a jackass. Personally, it's my personal opinion. Mm-hmm. I would feel like a jackass because, for one, it's too acceptable for Black people. It's too acceptable for Black men in particular to not talk about accomplishments, not talk about building a lemonade stand, but talk about how much pussy we get. It's not even an argument about the pussy. It's the lack of argument about everything else. That's odd to me. That's very odd. And maybe it's just me, man, but I just don't get it. Like, how could you be proud of that? How could you look in the mirror and really feel like an accomplished man when the only thing you got to hang your hat on is how much pussy you got? You know what I'm saying? There should be a balance to your life, man. This is my personal opinion. It should be a balance. But I expect certain conversations coming from younger men because they're young. But when I see the same conversations in men that are in their 60s or close to it, and it's the same exact thing, I find that odd to me. Yeah, I do. And I think in Black America, that's one of the issues. That's one of the issues. Too many older men decided that they didn't want to be men. They just decided that they want to be players. And believe it or not, when you're dealing with a lot of women and you just out here and you clubbing and all of this, it's irresponsibility that comes with that too. It's a lack of maturity that comes with a lot of this shit too. So I see both sides of the coin, man. I do. I see both sides of the coin. Point blank, period. There's nothing wrong with sex as long as it's safe and as long as it's done ethically. I think sex is a beautiful thing, but not in the sense that a lot of these guys are talking about it. I believe in ethics. I believe in doing things the right way. A lot of these guys act like sexual assault is a normal thing. No, the fuck it's not. Meaning, they'll tell you something like, well, it can happen to anybody. No, it can't. No, it can't. No, it can't. Stop saying that shit. No, it can't. I'm tired of that stuff, man. Trying to normalize bullshit behavior. A lot of this stuff is foolishness, man. And it shows the lack of maturity that a lot of these guys have. You know what I mean? That's BS right there, man. You'll have a lot of these guys, they'll act like they're an expert on female nature, but they don't know the difference between a 14-year-old girl and an 18-year-old girl. It makes no sense. If you let these guys talk enough, they'll say any goddamn thing. How the hell you miss the female nature? You know everything it is about women. You got all the game. But you can't talk to a young girl for 5 minutes and find out that she young as hell? Are you serious, man? You gonna tell me that with a straight face? Nah, that's bullshit. And I'm not digging that, man. That's bullshit right there. Dog, even if you got a young girl that's shapely for her age. Okay, like you may say she look older until you talk to her. Until she riding in your car and you peep her mannerisms. And you go to the restaurant and you're sitting at the Olive Garden and she done order some damn chicken tenders. You kind of realize certain things if you're in that situation. You know, I would think so. You know, I would believe that that's the case, especially if you claiming, you know, everything about women. So a lot of niggas like to live in this place of plausible deniability. You know what I'm saying? So look, man, it's just kind of corny, man. You know what I'm saying? I don't mind holding women accountable, but I think when you're holding somebody accountable, you got to be standing on two legs as a, just, you know, particularly as a man. You know what I'm saying? If you're going to be telling women and giving women marching orders, well, you want to make sure you're rolling right too. That's just what I believe in. You know, you can't be out here doing what you want to do, but telling them to get in line. Or like the arguments that a lot of these guys got, women should be, you know, wife material, saving themselves for their husbands or whatever. They shouldn't be sleeping around. But in the very same breath, they talk about how much pussy they get. It's not even a logical thing. If you're going to be talking about in your content how guys to get the most pussy from women, well, who do you think they're going to be sleeping with? The same women you're going to go back and talk about and call them a hoe. These are not sensible conversations at the nitty gritty. It's not. You know what I'm saying? So not one time have I heard from these guys, like, you know what, fellas? If we want these women to stop doing certain things, let's keep our dick in our pants. I haven't heard one person say that. To me, that'd be the most logical place to start because that's what you can control. But nah, so it's bullshit to me, man. You know what I'm saying? It's bullshit to me. If you really wanted these women to change, you would keep your dick out of them. Clearly, these women don't have a shortage of sex partners. So, you know, I just think it's bullshit. I think it's a lot of nitpicking and agitating on women. I don't think a lot of these guys have female interactions in their real life. I think they come online to get their frustrations off. You know, I've seen it. You know, the reality is a lot of these guys don't have nothing to say to women in real life. Nothing of any kind of substance. So they come online and they play these characters and they can say whatever it is that they want to say. You know, I get it. But I just think that whole shtick got a little old. You know what I mean? I do. So at some point, you're gonna have to sing it or bring it. You know what I mean? Or just complain for the rest of your life. Me, I don't give a damn, man. I'm not 60 years old. I'm not 50 years old. Straight up, I'm not. So for a lot of these guys, they don't have an end goal, is what I'm saying. They don't. They don't have one end goal to their complaints. They don't have any kind of solution. Not even for themselves. You know, and quite frankly, I don't believe the shit that they say anyway. So, you know, if a guy's really MGTOW, if a guy's really gonna go his own way, he's not gonna do too much talking about it. You know what I'm saying? How the hell you going your own way? But if I go down your video catalog, every damn video is about women. How is that the case? You know, how is it when I watch your content, one video you telling me how messed up women are? Oh, never move in with a woman, never do this, never cohabitate, never get married, never have kids. And the very next video, you teaching me how to approach a woman. Nobody really ever asked these questions. And I'm like, well, if women are that bad, why would you teach me how to get one? You know what I'm saying? So they playing off the ignorance of these young guys because a lot of these young guys don't have reference points in their own mind on dealing with women. So they only going off of the fabricated and romanticized stories that these guys come up with. You know what I'm saying? Some of these content creators actually live with women, but they telling their subscribers not to live with women. It's fuckery, you know. And you know, usually I don't really care about it, but since we're talking, I just gotta say it, man. It's fuckery, man. It's smoke and mirrors, man. You know, and when I first came into this space, a lot of guys wasn't making a lot of money off YouTube. You know, it was even before live streams came. You know, live streams are fairly new. So when I seen the money become more prominent, I seen the content become more extreme. I did. I never had an issue with the red pill at first. You know, it was just like a matter of fact thing. I heard guys talking about it. Some of it I agree with, some of it I didn't. But either way, it wasn't all this extreme shit. You know what I'm saying? For the most part, the stuff that I've heard, you know, I can't speak for stuff I didn't hear. So I've watched it get extreme. I literally watched it. I did. Just like I told you, like even with Obsidian. When I first discovered Obsidian, he was just reading. It sounded like he was reading off a piece of paper, reading data and statistics on black men and stuff, and reading the statistics about black women and what they said in articles. He was just giving a response to what they were saying. It wasn't all the rest of this stuff. You know what I'm saying? And then I did watch him get more extreme. And then I can see if I was the only one that left Obsidian show, then people can say, oh, Boogie, you just mad or whatever the fuck, you know, even though I left. But I ain't the only one that left Obsidian show. And he should be able to tell you that because I know he's watching. He ain't got nothing else to do. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of good brothers left Obsidian show. A lot. So, you know, you got to ask yourself why. It just was what it was. He can't blame nobody for that. You can't blame nobody for that. First, he was the voice of the everyday brother. Now he's high value. You know, look, man. I mean, seriously, this stuff is a joke. This stuff is a joke to me, man. At this point, it really is. You know what I'm saying? For me, I'm like this. I don't like everything that these women do in public. I don't like everything, you know, black women, whoever. I don't. I don't agree with a lot of decisions that these women make. But I've said what I had to say about it. I'm not gonna beat a dead horse. I don't take back anything that I've said about women. You know, I don't ever think that I said nothing that was off the chain, very extreme. You know, I called it how I would see it. I still call women out to this day. But you know what? I'm gonna do it in a way where it's constructive, where it doesn't have this negative, bitter energy behind it. And it's coming from a place where, for the women that want to listen, it's a solution attached to it too. And that's why we opened up the Self-Improvement Summit for women too. And last time we had quite a few women come out. Self-improvement is for them too. So for me, it's all coming from a good spot, man. You know, and it's just all good, man. You know, everybody don't have to agree with me. Everybody don't have to like me or whatever, but here's what I can say to defend myself. If I was only doing this for money, I could think of 10 content ideas that would make me a lot of money off YouTube. I could. There's no money in self-improvement. I wouldn't have turned down certain things from guys in the white manosphere that involve money to put money into my own events. If it was about money, I wouldn't be in this position. If it was about money, I'll be doing a bunch of response videos or whatever. I'll be doing celebrity gossip. Wherever the views are at, I understand the business of YouTube. I know the algorithm better than a lot of these guys. So for me, that's just a flawed argument. And I've heard guys say that about me. I'm like, what money do I make off YouTube? The most money that I make, which is nobody's business, is from my consultations. I don't make no money off YouTube. It's not like I get millions or 100,000s of views. I don't make no money off YouTube. I mean, I get a little super chat money or whatever, cool, but it's not a lot. So at the end of the day, I had a goal in mind with the Self-Improvement Summit, and I delivered. Not just me, Ron Wills is right there, right by my side, standing right next to me. And we delivered, man. That's it. That's it.
Okay. So only one last question since we're approaching the 2 hour mark. Longest interview I did, but this is actually very enlightening, so I don't mind it. I'm definitely eating dinner after this. Yeah, so any last words for the people listening?
Last words?
Mm-hmm.
Well, first I want to say thank you, to everybody that even watched. I didn't know we was on here for 2 hours, but I kind of knew that we was going to get into some juicy shit, which is cool. I would say this, man. First I'm gonna speak to the men. I would say get over what kind of anger you got with women. I just don't see how it's helping a lot of guys. A lot of guys, this shit is affecting their physical health. I've watched guys go fully gray online. And I only been around for like 2.5 years. It's affecting a lot of these guys on a personal level. And this is not my opinion. These are facts. It's a lot of negative energy in a lot of these spaces, and that'd just be my advice, man. Shake a lot of that shit off, man, and find some kind of peace to your life. You know what I'm saying? This shit is affecting a lot of people in a lot of different ways. I know the YouTubers that lose sleep at night. I know the YouTubers that got insomnia. I know the YouTubers that are highly stressed out, that essentially fucked up over this shit. And you got this negative energy. It's like a bacteria, and they got to constantly feed off something. And that's why, like even on my channel, we take all the precautions. If somebody comes with some bullshit, we just block them, because you are dealing with a lot of different energy, a lot of different people online. And I don't know who these people believe in, who they pray to or whatever. And I don't even want no part of that shit. I was dating the girl last year, and I did a live stream from her house one night, and she noticed when I got off this, because I was going off on somebody online. And when I got off the live stream, she was like, damn, babe. She was like, I've noticed after you go live, you got to take about 10 minutes to decompress. And she was right. I mean, Stevie Wonder can see that shit. And after that, I had to do what I had to do to get that negative energy out of my life. And a lot of this shit ain't healthy, and in the past, I've let some of that negative energy seep into my life, my personal life, where it did affect my mood at times. And I had to get control of that shit. And that's why, people that follow me on a regular basis, I'll just put YouTube down sometimes for like a week, 4 or 5 days. I won't even touch it. And then I'll come back and do content. And I'll put it down again. You know what I'm saying? Or I'll already have some videos uploaded, and all I got to do is make them public. But the reality is, I won't even deal with it. But this shit is affecting a lot of people. And we've seen a lot of strange things online. We've seen people fake that death. We've seen people go to jail. We've seen it all. And it's not worth it to me, man. It's not. It's not, man. So that'd be it, man. Just guys really need to ask themselves, why are they online? And, how is it helping them? I think in the beginning, initially, a lot of guys had some good intention, you know, but I think now what it's turned into was a clusterfuck. And kind of is what it is, man. So
I fully agree. I'm definitely by mid-summer. This is really it for me. I'll keep the channel up. I'll just name it Expose the Manosphere Archive in brackets. But yeah, I'm kind of ready to move on to some other stuff after this.
Yeah, man. Me too, man. No, the only reason I'm still doing content, I'm glad you said that. The only reason I'm still doing content is to promote the Self-Improvement Summit. Once I get the summit to the point where I don't need YouTube to promote it, I'm done with this shit too. I pretty much said everything I had to say, for the most part. You know, it's only so many ways that I can flip a message. Because I pretty much stay in my lane online. I might got about 4 or 5 topics I speak on, but you know, you're not gonna catch me talking about politics one day and the next day I'm thinking I'm a dating coach or stuff like it's too much, right? Because you got some guys, they driving in every lane. They just trying to find something that works. And me, I got about 4 or 5 things, or maybe 4 things that I speak on. I tend to leave it from that. But for me, you know, like I say, man, I probably, once I get comfortable enough where I can just get on Instagram or something and announce that I got a summit coming up, people still come, I'll be done with this shit too, man. You know what I mean? I think for the guys that I've helped online, you know, younger guys that follow me, you know, I definitely appreciate them, you know, and they know it because I've told them. Like even some of the women that I've helped, you know, whether it's email or consultation, you know, I appreciate them as well. Even some of my detractors, man. I had some good sparring matches online, but dog, I'll be 34 in October. I'm gonna close with this. The biggest thing this space has showed me was what I don't want to be.
I agree with that.
I don't want to be a bitter old man. I don't want to be one of these Negro nomads with no family or friends, no personal life. Guys be having birthday parties online and blowing out virtual candles on the cake. And guys be talking about they'll rather be online than be around their family. And you know what? First of all, that's abnormal. It's not normal. But it really showed me what I don't want to be. I don't want to end up being a bitter old black man. I don't want to be a 70-year-old black man in the club trying to chase some young tail. I don't want to be estranged from my family and all that other kind of crap. So essentially, I should be thanking these guys. Man. Matter of fact, that's what I want to do. Thank y'all. You know what I'm saying? For real. Thank y'all for showing me indirectly what I don't want to be. I don't want to be a black man that never built anything and I just died talking about how much pussy I got. I don't want that for my life, you know? So the biggest lesson these guys taught me, it happened indirectly. So really, I got some Christmas cards coming for all these dudes. And I want to thank them personally because they really showed me what pathetic looks like. They showed me what being at the bottom of the barrel as a group of men looks like. A lot of these guys have showed me what fuckery looks like, hypocritical shit looks like, anything. Man. A lot of these guys have showed me what bum shit look like. And I should thank them. So that's it, man.
And with that said, I appreciate everybody who came in. I know we peaked at like around 100 or something live viewers. Of course, I know the views going to go up by the days go past as days pass. For everybody else, I'll have hopefully a pre-recorded video next week. I mean, I'm swamped with work. The semester's about to end, so I got to wrap up some stuff. But I sincerely do appreciate this interview. Like I said, it's the longest one I did, but it's very enlightening. I think you're a really interesting person to talk to because they definitely make me have to think about things differently.
Yeah, man, sometimes I can ramble on, but no, man, I think it's all good. And I think some of them questions you asked me, I kind of had to go back in time. So, it's fine, man. Anybody that watches my channel, they know I can get the rambling. So it's all good though, man. Hey, man, I appreciate you for having me on, man. I think this was a dope interview.
Okay, I appreciate it too. And other than that, I'll just say have a good night, and I'll see everybody next time.